Hi everyone, Dankman here. So we're going to continue our review of area and perimeter. And I will start with this shape here. This is a rectangle. That rectangle has a dimension of 3 units, so it's 3 units tall, and another dimension of 6 units. So 3 units tall and 6 units across. It's a 3 by 6 rectangle. Now the area and the perimeter of the rectangle are two types of things we can measure about it. We'll start with perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around the outside, around the outside, around the outside. Okay? And since this is a rectangle, if it's 3 units tall on the left side, it's also 3 units tall on the right side. And if it's 6 units across on top, then it's 6 units across on the bottom. So I like to think of the perimeter of a shape maybe sort of like there's a person, and that person is standing maybe on a corner or on a part of the shape and walks the entire distance around the shape back to where they started. And the question that perimeter answers is, how far did they walk? So this person starts in one place, they walk 6 units, plus another 3 more, plus another 6, plus another 3 more. So their total journey, P, perimeter, is given by adding up all the sides of this rectangle. That's 6 units across, then 3 down, then another 6 across, then 3 up, for a total of adding up 6 and 3 and 6 and 3. You can do that addition any way you like. One way to do it might be to think about 6 and 3 as 9, and then doubling 9 to get 18 units. And these are length units, they're not square units or area units. So that's perimeter. For area, as we've talked about, an area unit is 1 square unit. So that's 1 square unit. And the question of area is how many of those squares fill up a shape. Now to find the area of a rectangle is to find out how much surface it covers, or how many red squares it would take to fill up this rectangle. And I know you guys know that to find the area of a rectangle, you multiply length times width. And I'm going to talk about why that is, okay? If I were to divide this rectangle up into little unit area squares, okay, we're going to see that going across there will be 6 squares. So let's count those 6 squares across. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. And that means there's 6 squares across on top, 6 squares across the middle, and 6 squares across the bottom. So going up and down, there are 3 different rows. So we have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, of 6. All right? To find 3 rows of 6, that would be like adding 6 up 3 times. And that's where multiplication jumps in. Multiplication is a way of representing repeated addition. So if you add the same number up 2 or 3 or 10 times, you can replace that with addition. So 6 added up 3 times is 6 times 3. And so the area of a rectangle is given by 6 times 3, length times width, 18 units, and those are square units. They're not length units, but they're surface area units. They're how much surface is covered. Next, I'm going to talk about a couple little examples of things we might want to do with that. So, I'm going to draw us a little picture of a sort of incomplete rectangle. We're going to see that the rectangle goes across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 units. Okay, and it goes down 4 units. So let's say we want to find the area of this rectangle. Okay, the area of this rectangle. So we can see going across, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. And going down, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So the dimensions of this rectangle are 4 by 6, 4 tall and 6 across. Okay. And so to find the area, we know, for instance, that there will be 6 across here, and then 6 across on the next row, and 6 on the next, and 6 on the next. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of 6. So we could add up 6 times. We could add up 6 4 times. Or we could replace that with multiplication, because 6 added 4 times is 6 times 4. So the area will be 24, and those are squares. So we'll call them square units, 24 little squares. That's how much surface is covered by this rectangle. Incidentally, or another way as it happens to look at this, is you could say, hey, it's 4 units tall, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns of 4. So we could also find the area by saying, look, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of 4, which will give 4 times 6, which is equal as well to 24 square units. Just another way to look at rectangle areas. And now we're going to complete with a big problem involving a rectangle's area and its perimeter all at the same time. Okay, so here's this rectangle, all right? And I'm going to give you some partial information about this rectangle. I know the area of this rectangle is 33 square units, SQ square units. And I know the width of this rectangle is 3 units. And I want you to fill in all the blanks here, okay? So let's start with the things we know. We know the width is 3 units, so I know this rectangle will be 3 units tall. And we know the area is 33 square units, so I'll fill that in. Okay. Now, the length and the perimeter are things we're not told in the beginning of the problem, so how can we fill those in? Well, I know how to find the area of a rectangle. I'm going to take the length of that rectangle times the width of that rectangle. And I know that the area is 33 square units, and I don't know the length, but I know the width is 3 units. Pardon me. And so, the question I have is, what number do I multiply by 3 to make 33? Okay? That's the question. And I think we know that that number is 11 units. Okay? So, you've got to multiply 3 by 11 to get out 33. So that means the length must be 11 in order for the area and the width to be what we were told, 33 and 3. That leaves the perimeter. Perimeter, of course, as we talked about, is the distance around the outside, around the outside, around the outside of a shape. So starting here on the corner, maybe, a person might go for a walk. 11 plus 3 plus another 11 plus another 3. So to find the perimeter, we would add up all of the lengths around the outside of the shape, which are 2 3s and 2 11s. Incidentally, it's possible to think of a rectangle as having 2 times 11 and 2 times 3, because there are 2 11s being added, so we can replace that addition of 2 11s with multiplication. And there are 2 times 3, so we can replace that addition of 3's with multiplication. And that's 22 plus 6 for a total of 28 units around the outside. Okay? Go ahead and check your assignments, and there will be 2 of them today, and next week we'll finish off this section and move on to a new one. Have a good weekend.